FBI director. Witch hunt. Has the special counsel, Robert Mueller, formally notified the president that he is under investigation?
The president has not been notified by anyone that he's under investigation. That tweet, Chris, was in response to the Washington Post story that alleged that 5 unnamed sources, anonymous sources, leaked to the Washington Post that the president was in fact under investigation. So that tweet was in response to that. There's been no notification of any investigation. Nothing's changed since James Comey said the president was not a target or a subject of investigation. Nothing's changed.
Well, but you don't know that he isn't under investigation now, do you?
Well, no one's notified us that he is, so I can't read people's minds, but I can tell you this, that we've not been notified that there's an investigation of the President of the United States. So that nothing has changed in that regard since James Comey's testimony.
I want to go after another part of his tweet. Why is he going after Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein? First of all, he seems to imply that Rosenstein is investigating, and that's not true. It's Mueller. And secondly, he made it clear in an interview with NBC that he decided to fire Comey well before he ever met with Rod Rosenstein. Take a look.
I was going to fire regardless of recommendation. He made a recommendation. He's highly respected, very good guy, very smart guy. The Democrats like him, the Republicans like him. He made a recommendation, but regardless of recommendation, I was going to fire Comey.
I want to ask you a direct question. Does the president think that Rod Rosenstein has done anything wrong?
No, the president has never said anything about Rod Rosenstein doing anything wrong. Here's what is the legal situation here. There is a constitutional issue when you have this scenario. The president made a determination based on consultative advice. He decided ultimately, he's the commander-in-chief, he gets to make that decision, that James Comey had to go. That was coming, by the way, from groups right, left, and center over the last year. You and I know that. So there's been concern about James Comey. It was put forward in a memorandum, that's what the president's referencing, from the Deputy Attorney General and the Attorney General requesting the removal of James Comey as the FBI director. And ultimately, that's the president's determination. So here's the constitutional threshold question, Chris. The president takes action based on numerous events, including recommendations from his Attorney General and the Deputy Attorney General's office. He takes the action that they also, by the way, recommended, and now he's being investigated by the Department of Justice because the special counsel, under the special counsel regulations, reports still to the Department of Justice, not an independent counsel. So he's being investigated for taking the action that the Attorney General and Deputy Attorney General recommended him to take by the agency who recommended the termination. So that's the constitutional threshold question here. That's why, as I said, no investigation.
What's the question? I mean, you stated some facts. First of all, you've now said that he is being investigated after saying that you didn't.
No.
You just said, sir, you just said that he's being investigated.
No, Chris, I said that let me be crystal clear so you completely understand. We have not received nor are we aware of any investigation of the President of the United States.
So you just said 2 times that he's being investigated.
No. The context of the tweet, I just gave you the legal theory, Chris, of how the Constitution works. If, in fact, that it was correct that the President was being investigated, he would be investigating for taking action that an agency told him to take. So that is protected under the Constitution as his Article 1 power. That's all I said. So I appreciate you trying to rephrase it, but I'm just being really
I didn't rephrase it. Jay, this tape will speak for itself. You said he is being investigated, and it's not just being. Jay, and it's not Jay. It's not just being investigated for firing Comey. There's also the question of what he said to Comey when Comey was still the FBI director. So there's more than just the fact that he fired Comey.
Chris, let me be clear. You asked me a question about what the President's tweet was regarding the Deputy Attorney General of the United States. That's what you asked me. And I responded to what that legal theory would be. So I do not appreciate you putting words in my mouth when I've been crystal clear that the President is not and has not been under investigation. I don't think I could be any clearer than that.
Well, you don't know that he's not under investigation again, sir. I mean,
I cannot read the mind. You're right, Chris. I can't read the mind of the special prosecutor.
So we're in agreement. You don't know whether he's under investigation. You don't know whether he's under investigation or not. Question I'm asking you is, does he think that Rod Rosenstein, it's a very simple question, does he think that Rod Rosenstein did anything wrong?
The President has not expressed any opinion about Rod Rosenstein.
Does he think that Robert Mueller has done anything wrong?
First of all, he has not said anything about Robert Mueller. And Chris, let me say something here. You're asking me, if I had a conversation, which I have not had, about Robert Mueller with the President of the United States, or anyone else for that matter, I can't discuss that and will not discuss that with you. Unlike James Comey, who leaks information to the press, I actually respect the attorney-client privilege. Apparently he did not.
Does the President believe, well, you're speaking for his legal team, so you're out here to represent him and tell us what the President's belief is that correct?
No, I'm not here to tell you what the facts are and the legal issues are. I'm not to tell you what the beliefs are. I'm not the client's conscience. I'm his lawyer.
I understand that. Have you spoken to the President at all?
Yes, but I'm not going to discuss those conversations with you. Those are privileged under the attorney-client privilege.
Well, I assume that if he asked you to say something, for instance, Mark Kasowitz said all kinds of things about after Comey's testimony. I assume he was speaking for the President.
Mark Kasowitz made a general statement to the press after the testimony of James Comey. That's what that was about. You're asking me now questions about what people are thinking in their minds, which I don't read minds, and you're asking me also what I may or may not have had a conversation with the President about, and you understand this. I respect the attorney-client privilege, unlike James Comey. I want to be real clear on that too. I'm not going to give you conversations I've have or have not had with the President of the United States. So I have a conversation with the President of the United States as his lawyer is for privilege, period.
Does the President think that Rosenstein, because you talked about this constitutional theory that he took action on the advice, although he says he didn't take it on the advice of Rosenstein, does he think that Rosenstein should recuse himself, and is he laying the groundwork to fire Rosenstein and Mueller?
I've had no conversations and I've heard nothing about that at all. Nothing. I think Chris, this points out, let me tell you one thing quickly about the constitutional theory, as you call it. It's actually called the Constitution. You know, the President has certain plenary authority.
I think you call it the constitutional theory, sir.
Yeah, it is a constitutional theory based on the Constitution.
I understand that.
Not so-called. It's the constitutional theory. It's part of the Constitution. President has inherent authority. Here's what you're trying to do, Chris. And I appreciate
now you're reading minds again. Now you're reading minds again.
No, Chris. I deal with fact and law.
Don't tell me what I'm trying to do, because you don't know what I'm trying to do. Actually, what I'm trying to get is a straight answer out of you. Let me ask you this. As a matter of law, does the President think that he can be indicted under the Constitution?
The President, I haven't had that conversation with the President, but the President can't be indicted under the Constitution for the activities alleged in something like this. Of course not.
Why is that?
Because there's not an investigation. And you
don't know whether there's oh boy, this is weird. You don't know whether there's an investigation. You just told us.
Chris, you're asking me to so then what you're asking me to do
is I'm asking you as a matter of law, not whether there's an investigation. Does the President think he can be indicted as President? That's a constitutional issue, isn't it?
Obstruction of justice? No,
for any issue.
Constitution's. Now, Chris, you know, let's be realistic here. You know what the answer is. Can presidents be indicted for obstruction? You know what the position has been in the Department of Justice since the 1970s and again stated in 2000. That's not how you engage a president. There's a political process. Somebody did something wrong. You're conflating a constitutional process, criminal law, with a issue of political consequence. So I'm his lawyer. I'm not his political advisor.
Senator Dianne Feinstein, the top Democrat on the Senate Judiciary Committee, responded to the President's tweet this week with this statement: "The message the President is sending through his tweets is that he believes the rule of law doesn't apply to him, and that anyone who thinks otherwise will be fired." Is she wrong, sir?
Yes, she's wrong. First of all, Dianne Feinstein also called for an investigation of James Comey and Loretta Lynch for that whole episode regarding her engagement and calling it a, quote, matter, not an investigation. But with regard to this particular issue, I mean, the tweet, there's nothing illegal or inappropriate about the tweet. The tweet came on the heels of a Washington Post story that had 5 anonymous sources and didn't even identify the agency from which those sources came from, and that's what he tweeted in response to. It's that simple. Period.
Final question. The President just added John Dowd, a high-powered Washington lawyer, to his legal team. Should we expect him to hire other criminal lawyers? And in a sense, is he preparing for potential legal battle here?
Look, I mean, John Dowd is a legal legend, you know that, in Washington, D.C., and the President is doing the appropriate thing by hiring lawyers necessary if there was to be an investigation. If there were to be an investigation, you have the lawyers in place. We've got a great legal team led by Mark Kasowitz. We've got John Dowd on the team. This is a solid team, contrary to some of the press reports, a deep team.
Do you think, I'm misspoke, I'm going to ask one more question, because I'm not allowed to ask you what the president thinks. Do you think that he should stop, do you think he should stop tweeting about this case?
Look, here's the thing on that. You know, people have been asking me that.
Did you notice how Chris Wallace is always against Trump? They should have done that with Obama. Let us know what you think, because this is getting out of hand with everybody attacking Trump and letting Obama. Were they like this with Obama? Were they like this with Loretta Lynch in regards to Loretta Lynch and Hillary Clinton? Not at all. Not at all. The deep state is fighting, and the deep state is who's paying these people to broadcast this kind of news. And I noticed on other videos that people had this up. There's a lot of people that are against Trump, and it's shameful, because they don't even realize that we as Americans are going to lose our constitutional rights slowly but surely with these people. They have no regard for the Constitution, and as Obama said, the end of the Republic never looked so good. That had a very serious statement, and the idiots in the audience at that time were laughing, and these were all high-end people. Let us know what you think in the comments below, and thank you so much for watching.